Hi, and welcome to the video series on Easy Autoresponder Cache. Before we get started, I want to give you a quick summary of this particular video series. This is not just going to focus on how to set up an autoresponder. The real focus is going to be on how to find offline companies, how to approach offline companies, how to build a relationship with them, and then close a deal. Now, what are you selling? You're selling basically a system on using Aweber or any other autoresponder and setting up an email system for them. A lot of offline companies don't have a proper autoresponder or email system set up. A lot of them, in fact, are just still using old email systems and Outlook Express to send out their mass emails. And they really don't have a system that is set up to generate leads. And if they do, generally it's very time consuming and very costly. So what you're doing is you're really doing them a favor as you approach them. You're saving them time and you're saving them money. So what we're doing here is we're approaching them, closing the deal. This you can earn anywhere from several thousand, and I've earned personally up to 5 to 10,000. And this is taken from my personal experience so that you can learn exactly step by step what to do. And not just mine, I've talked to several other direct marketers about this who are in businesses that deal with, email marketing and setting up autoresponders, and they say the same thing. So with that said, let's move on. What I'm going to do is give you a quick overview of what to expect in each individual videos. So the first video is this particular video. I'm going to explain and give you a quick overview of each videos themselves, what we're going to talk about. Then I'm going to dive into what kind of tools you're going to need so that you can expect to be able to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And I'm a big believer in showing you what you're going to expect in advance and what tools you need and how the system works all together so that when you do watch the videos 2 through 7, it'll make it a lot easier. In video 2, I'm going to talk about approaching offline companies, how you find these offline companies, what kind of techniques you use. Fortunately for you, it's going to all be free. We're going to use website tools, Google Trends, Google Local, and things like that to find offline companies. There's specific things to look out for when you do find offline companies, because you don't want to end up with a company that cannot afford, or a company that will not take you as seriously, because then you would just be wasting your time and money. So I'm going to talk about how to find them. Once you find them, what do you do? How do you approach them? And then how do you close the deal? And then what do you do from then? So that particular video is going to be a bit longer because I'm going to focus on that important aspect, because that's what makes this video series interesting. Video 3, I'm going to talk about creating their follow-up series. What then? Once you close the deal, what then do you do? Like, how do you create their follow-up series? I know some of you might be coming at an angle like, oh, it's very easy to create follow-up series. Well, great. But when you're dealing with offline companies, it's a little different in that aspect. Video 4, we're going to talk about email HTML templates. Email HTML templates, as you know, are increasing. And that's what makes an email list look good. And when you're approaching offline companies, they care a lot about presentation. I mean, even with an online business, you should care, but offline companies put a lot of effort into making pretty or very good looking HTML templates. If you can do that, you can master that, and I'll show you how to do that, and you can even outsource it quickly, and you can outsource it for, less than 30, 50, 40, $60 around that range, and you're making a couple $1,000s, it's easier just to outsource it. But believe it or not, offline companies, it's funny. They'll spend thousands of dollars on HTML templates. And being that I have worked with a lot of offline companies and even work for some, they do invest a lot in that area. So that's kind of funny. But anyways, video 5 is going to be about setting up the emails. Once you created the emails, once you created the email HTML templates, then it's time to set up the emails, the welcome follow-up emails, and so forth. Video 6, easy shopping cart integration. Some companies will use shopping carts, and they want a system where you can actually, after somebody purchases a product, they will go onto their list. Now, Aweber fortunately covers some of that with the shopping carts and things like that, but I'm going to go over it a little bit just because it's something that will come up whenever you are dealing with offline companies, especially if they want integration. Most of the time, that's not the case, but a lot of the times it can be the case because you are dealing with a company that doesn't really like change, but they're willing to change because they're willing to grow and expand. But they're still using traditional marketing, dinosaur marketing, in fact. So there takes a little bit of convincing, but I'll show you techniques that you can use to convince them. Because your goal is to help them, but your goal is to sell to them as well. Video 7, the last video, is going to be about testing and statistics. Once you're done with everything, you need to test it. You need to make sure that it works. You need to make sure that the client sees that it works. Because once they see it works, bam, they're going to want you to do more. All right, I'll tell you a little more about that later. And statistics, you're going to want to send them reports or show them how to access the reports. And as you know, Aweber provides all of that. So now you know what to expect in these videos, I can move on and talk about what kind of tools that you're going to need. Basic tools, all the tools that you have are free except for an autoresponder. You're going to need the internet. There's a lot of tools that we're going to and websites that we're going to use on the internet. Fortunately, they're free. You're going to need a cell phone. You're going to need to be able to pick up the phone and talk. I know some of you are thinking, I'd rather do this behind my computer. And I thought the same thing too, many years back. But you gotta realize, you make a lot more money if you just pick up the cell phone and talk. Because when you're dealing with offline companies, they would rather talk to you or meet with you in person. Or you could set up an appointment with their marketing director. You need confidence and you need basic communication skills. Because when you're approaching offline companies, if you don't look unconfident, then if you look not confident, then you're going to put that on your product and service. You're just going to basically tell the offline company that you are not confident in your product. So you got to be confident. You got to have basic communication skills. So if you feel like, oh, this doesn't sound like it's going to be good for me, well, guess what? You need to be able to do this eventually. So what better way than to expand and to be able to reach out and improve yourself, but in this video series. So you will thank me later. Confidence, basic communication skills. Go out there, do some speaking, just talk to random people, and just call a bunch of people. You will realize that after talking to people on the cell phone and just talking to marketing directors of different companies and things like that, you will find that you will actually enjoy it. You might enjoy it. So that's a definite. Aweber. You can use another autoresponder if you choose to do so. However, I will be using Aweber, so if you want to follow step by step, I'd recommend that you get Aweber. How it all works. Pretty simple, straightforward idea. A lot of it is focused on approaching offline companies. You approach the offline company, of course, before that you find them. Then you close the deal. But between those 2 points, there's a lot that goes into it. Then you need to plan out what their custom process looks like. You have to know their system, how they're marketing, how they're doing their things. Because when you set up this system, it's not always going to be the same. Sometimes they need some customization. Once you do that, then you know how to create their follow-up emails. Then you know what they expect with the templates and things like that. Then you can create the HTML templates. Then you can set up everything and test it. So now that you know how it all works, we can move on to video 2, where we actually talk about offline companies, how to find them, how to see whether they're a good candidate, and how to approach them and how to close the deal. Hi, and welcome to video 2, approaching offline companies. Now here's a quick layout of what we're going to talk about in this particular video. First, we're going to find companies. I'm actually going to show you, a screen capture video of step by step what to do, how to find them. And then I'm going to talk about approaching offline companies. How do you approach them? Then I'm going to talk about how to build a relationship with them, which is giving them a free consultation. So the question that you have is, why offline companies? What are the advantages and disadvantages of dealing with offline companies? Well, first of all, I'm going to start out with the advantages. The advantages are that you have less competition. When you're dealing with online businesses, they know about autoresponders and things like that, and they're a little more familiar with autoresponders and all that, because you get hammered by build your list, build your list, build your list. But in the offline arena, you don't get hammered as much. They understand the value of a list, but a lot of times they're using old email systems that cost them large amounts of money every year. In fact, I used to work for a company that invests about $10,000 into their system each and every year. So you can imagine approaching them and giving them a better solution for $10,000, and it will save them pretty much for a lifetime. So that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with offline companies. They take you seriously because they're using a lot of traditional marketing. They're not using advanced online marketing tactics. They're investing lots of money into direct marketing. So a lot of offline companies are willing to pay $5, $10, $20,000 just for a list. But they're not really building their lists properly. The company I used to work for, they invested $20,000 to $30,000 in their lists. And guess what? Out of the lists, only 2 or 3 people would convert. And I tell them over and over again, you've got to build your list on your own. Because if somebody signs up onto your list, they are more likely to trust you versus somebody that you don't know and you buy a list. So you can see where I'm going with this. A lot of companies actually do that offline. They buy their lists. And a lot of times their lists do not convert as well. But your whole goal here as well is you can take 2 different takes: to build your list and to email their existing clients. A lot of companies are still using Outlook Express, or they're using a very old email system that limits them, like I said earlier. So they're already paying several $1,000s a year. So your goal is to approach these companies and tell them, hey, guess what? I've got this system, email system, that I can set up for you one time. All I have to do is set it up once, and your system runs itself. You tell them that, they think, wow, I can get a system that runs itself. That's pretty amazing. All right. I mean, there's lots of systems out there like Infusionsoft and stuff that works great, but they do cost a lot of money, and it really depends on their needs. That's why you do a free consultation. If you do a free consultation and you approach the offline company, you need to use your brain to figure out, what is best for them. Is it better for them to use Aweber, from what they want to do, or is it easier for them to use a different system? So you need to decide that. But anyways, advantages. Less competition, they take you seriously. They're willing to pay 5 to 10,000 and more because they're already paying and they're already investing money into systems that are old and that are not functioning as well as what you can provide them. They tend to use traditional marketing, so you have an edge in the market. Even if they're trying to use online marketing and all that, I mean, most of the time, if you're coming online, you have more knowledge, or you've seen what people can use. So believe it or not, offline companies are still using traditional marketing, unless you're dealing with big companies. I'm talking about like mom and pop companies and companies that deal with like one person running it, or companies in the size of maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people or less. It depends on the company. Some companies have advanced marketing. Some companies are traditional marketing. So you got to figure out which one is which. So that's where the free consultation comes in. I'll show you that in just a minute. Disadvantages, there are disadvantages. Takes more time to explain things. When you're dealing with offline companies and they're using traditional marketing, it takes more time to explain things. Sometimes more time to convince them that what you have is right. But really, when you do this step by step, what I show you, then a lot of times it'll open doors and it'll make them say, aha, or wow, this is a lot better than what I have. And even though I don't like change, I'm willing to change because I could save, 10, 20, $30,000 in the long term. If you show them that they're going to save money and that they can save time, which of course time is money, then you're going to convince them. All right, so the question is how to find companies. First of all, I'm going to talk about a few things that you need to look for when you're finding companies, and then I'll actually show you how to find companies by going to Google Trends and different websites and different tools. What you want to do is focus on a specific hot niche in your area. The reason why I say that is because if you specifically focus on a hot niche in your area, then you can focus on other companies in that niche as well. And here's why. What you can do is go to Google Trends. I'll show you that in just a minute, but I'm going to use Google Trends to figure out whether or not something is hot in a specific area. You can also use Google Local by typing the keyword plus the city and state to find companies once you've found a hot niche in your area. You can also check to see if you can find a PPC ad or pay-per-click ad from the company. Sometimes if these companies are investing money into pay-per-click, then you know that they're already trying to reach the online world and they're trying to improve themselves. If you can find somebody who has a pay-per-click ad, they may not be, all into different marketing tactics, but they are using PPC because they want to increase their sales. If you find somebody like that, that increases your conversions because it's easier to convince them. You also want to see if they have a website. Check out their email system. See what kind of email system they're using. Are they still saying, hey, email me at this email? Or are they saying, sign up on this list? That way you can tell. You can tell if they're still using an autoresponder system or they're just using a basic email. So the first thing you want to do is go to www.google.com/trends. Google Trends is a great tool to use. It measures, in specific areas, what is hot as far as like keywords goes. For example, I know in South Carolina, weddings are hot. And we go to United States. South Carolina is the the top 4 places where people go and type in weddings. Weddings is a very profitable industry. I know that for a fact. Even during the recession, even during downtimes, people still get married and they still have to, pay for a wedding planner and things like that. So let's say I'm looking to focus on wedding planners. So once I figure out what is hot in my state, and before this, of course, you need to do some brainstorming, figure out topics that you want to, specific niches that you want to go into. I'd say create about 10 or 20 and then go to Google Trends, type it in, and then figure that out. Once you do that, I would go back to Google and I would type in a keyword. Put the keyword in the quotations and put a plus sign, and then put your city and your state. Alright, so here you will see Google will list a bunch of local business results for weddings. And on the right here, you'll see a bunch of sponsored links. Fortunately, if you read all this, it says like, add a touch of southern elegance and charm to your wedding day. So I could go to this website, and I could go to this website. This website sells photo needs. This website sells planning, event planning, wedding planning. This site sells spas. But what I want to do is focus on specific wedding planning. And this is what I was talking about, PPC ads. These people are paying for pay-per-click ads. And they're focusing for people like me or people in my area that are searching for wedding and wedding planning, right? So if you know that they went through the process of bidding on a pay-per-click ad, their marketing is probably a little up to par, but they're still looking to increase their sales by using online marketing, and they're a lot more open to it. So now you don't know until you actually talk to the people where they stand as far as online marketing goes. But you can see that they take less convincing. Now, people down here, you can look through and find people in your area too. One thing I like to do is if I click on local business results, you will find people that review, different wedding planners and things like that. I might even go as far as say wedding planning. Wedding planning. And I'll just go through and look through it, and some of these places have websites, some places don't have websites. This place has a website. As you can see, it's a pretty big store. Then I want to go to their website and look at their contact. Do they have contact information? Like this. See, they're still using an email. They're still saying email me here. So they're not using an autoresponder system. So that's one way to tell whether or not this company is using an autoresponder system or not. So what I'll do is create a list of a bunch of places that I want to call, and then I'll just call them, and then that's when we move on to the next step. Once you have found the companies that you want to approach, you want to create a list of them. Now you can call the companies. That's when you're going to need your cell phone, your landline, or whatever. You're going to need a phone. And you're going to need confidence and basic communication skills. Yes, you have to call the company. Do not email the company. It's just easier to call the company, plus they will trust you more if you call the company. Ask to speak with their marketing director, because the marketing director or whoever takes care of the marketing is going to want to hear about it. And especially if they feel like you know what you're talking about, then they will be interested, because the marketing director wants to increase sales. If you can talk their language, then they are more open to your consultation. So ask to speak to their marketing director. And here's a quick tip. If you help someone in a specific niche, for example, hairdressers, their competition is going to want to do it too. That's why I say find a specific hot niche and then stick with that niche. If that niche does well, you can go to so and so's competition, say, hey, I just set up a system for this guy. And he's like, oh, yeah, he's my competition. Well, I can set it up for you too and increase your market because if they know so and so has it, they're going to want to have it too because they want to be on top of the edge. They want to be on top of the hill and they want to be in the front. And so you see my point. Do not try to sell them anything. Do not try to sell the marketing director or whoever you're talking to anything. Your whole goal is just to ask about their company and how to set up a free consultation. But before you call the company, you kind of want to have an idea of what the company is about and what they do. But your whole goal here is to set up a free consultation. And the reason why I say do not sell them anything, because if you try to sell somebody, you're going to stand out, you're going to look like a telemarketer. That's not your goal. Your whole goal is just to figure out, what they're on, what kind of system they're on, and just talk to them. See, just say that you're offering a bunch of free consultations and you're willing to sit down for an hour and just listen to them. And I mean, during this process, you might not close some deals in the beginning, but if you think about it, sometimes this is good to boost your communication skills. I mean, you can see it in different lights. You might not make the sale, but you will definitely improve one way or another. And just make sure that you pick a good company. To pick a good company, just follow the basic guidelines that I showed you earlier about how to find a good company. Because some companies are worth your while, some companies are not. And generally, you can tell when you talk to them on the phone whether they're interested or not. Sometimes they're like, I don't know. But sometimes you might be able to close a deal even they're like, But sometimes they're like, I don't know. And you kind of know in your heart that this company is not going to be convinced anyway. So you might as well move on and find another company. Free consultation. Why do you need a free consultation? Well, the whole idea with a free consultation is to give you free entry to build trust. You stand out among all the telemarketers and all the people out there that are selling people stuff. And you're giving them a free consultation because sometimes they can learn stuff from the free consultation. It gives you time to show them that you know what you're talking about. It gives you time to show them that you know the autoresponder system very well. Even you're using the system. I hope that you're using the system, an autoresponder before you go out and sell it, because you do want to walk the talk. You want to talk the talk and walk the walk. It also gives you a chance to learn what the company is not doing in other areas. Hint, hint, more opportunity for other services. For example, if they're not doing like a specific marketing method to boost their rank in the search engines, they're not using pay-per-click marketing, you jot that all down. You ask them questions about what they're doing and what they're not doing, because this gives you a chance. If, let's say, you do close a deal, or let's say they're like, I don't know if I want this email system. You tell them flat out, well, you're not doing this, this, and this to boost your search engine rank. Let me show you what I can do for you. Of course, you don't want to do it at that moment. You want to do it after you do the free consultation. Do not sell anything in the free consultation anyways. Your whole goal is to figure out where they are, what their goals are, and where they can go with your services. So, as you can see, that's the idea of free consultation. You can figure out in a specific niche. Let's say this hairdresser guy, or let's say this gym owner. They answer all the questions. but you don't close the deal. Well, then you're thinking, man, I wasted so much time. Well, guess what? You did not waste time. You can go to another gym membership. Say, hey, I just gave a free consultation to so and so. You learn a lot about a specific niche just by talking to a gym owner or a specific niche product owner or service owner. You learn a lot about that niche. So if you go to the next person, you know a lot about that niche. So when you approach them, you'll know more about what you're talking about and you can associate that with that niche. And not only does that make them say, wow, but that even builds a closer relationship with them because they feel like, wow, you really know my industry. So, what I'm making here is even though you fail, you're going to improve in a different area. And that's the way you want to see it as. Because that's what's going to push you forward. It shows you where they are and where you can take them. Because if they see where they are, they're like, man, I'm wasting so much money. I'm putting $5,000-$10,000 every year into this system. But, you know, I could do it once and then forget it and set it up once and have the autoresponder go over and over again and automate itself. If you can show them that you can take something that's not automated and make it automated, they're going to love you. I tell you, they are going to love you. And if you set up this first system for you, let's say you charge $5,000, which is a lot lower, but you get a free entry or entry into their system, they're going to want you to set up all their other systems. So this is really a entry into their business so that you can become their marketing guy or provide them services that you can easily outsource. So what's the goal of the free consultation? I've pretty much covered a lot of that already, but I'm going to go over that again. Your goal is to figure out if there's a tedious and time-consuming process that they are doing that is not necessary. Read that again. Your goal is to figure out if there's a tedious process and time-consuming process they are doing that is not necessary. Bam, you got that there. If you figure out that tedious and time-consuming process that costs them a lot of money, a lot of time, that is not necessary, and what you can do is replace that system so that they save time, they save money, and they save time so they can spend that time. You tell them flat out, well, I can save you money and time. And the time that you're spending on doing all this tedious process, I can show you that you can take that time and spend it on your business. You can spend it on what's necessary so that you can actually take time to build up your business. So that's the goal of the free consultation. When you ask them questions, make sure that you customize those questions towards their business. And the way you do it is, I'll show you some questions later on. The questions you ask are about them first. You learn more about their system and their business. Then you can customize it towards their business. Once you start customizing it towards their business, the more they will realize more about their business, what deficiencies and what they can improve on in their business. And if you help them see that, they will trust you more. Let them learn a few things about themselves so that they think, wow, aha, so that's what I've been doing all around, wrong. And that's what I can do to improve. Well, of course, you don't tell them how to improve it. You're the guy that makes it improve. You're the guy that sets up the system. But you can give a little bit, but just don't give too much. I've made the mistake of giving too much. And then they realize how to do it. Then they're like, oh, I can get a guy in my web development to do that, But you're really coming at the angle that you're the marketing guy. You can have it all set up, but you're the marketing guy and you can help them in other areas of their business. Now, you're probably thinking, wow, okay, what kind of questions should I ask them? I don't know what kind of questions to ask them. I mean, you can make up questions as you go along, but your whole goal is to find out more about their business. Like, for example, explain your business. What do you do and how does it all work? So, this could even take 15, 20 minutes for them to explain. And you're just there jotting down notes, about the business. What do they do? Like, what do they sell? Is it a product or service? Because you're going to need to know this in the long run. How do they deliver the product? How does it work? How do they develop the products without going into detail? Let's say gym membership. You're not really developing product. It's more of a service. So if I was going to focus on gym memberships, gym owners, I would ask them, all right, can you explain your business? I know a little bit about your business, but I want you to explain your business. What do you do? How do you make money? Give me a list of briefly generalizing everything you do to make money. Okay, gym memberships make money from memberships. They make them from, personal training hours, 40, 45 bucks an hour. They make memberships possibly on classes. But you need to figure that out because then you can use that later on. Then ask them how it works. How does your current system work? How are you marketing? How are you gathering? What is your audience? Who is your target market? Are they older people? The gym that I go to, I'm not poking fun at any gym. I'm just saying the gym that I go to has a lot of older people, people from age of 40 to 70. So I like that. It caters to the people that are older and generally are, just there to weightlift. So you can jot that down. Okay, this gym is good for people who are this, this, and this. And then you have like places like Gold's Gym, which, you don't approach them because they already have their systems out, but they cater to a lot of different age groups because they have a lot of classes and things like that. So you're going to want to know the business, who their audience is, and who their target market is. Because guess what? You can offer other services, like I said earlier, in the long run, like marketing services. You're going to need to know what audience they're dealing with if you want to rank them high on Google Local or the search engines. Then you want to ask the big question, how are you marketing your business? They're going to say, well, I'm using a lot of direct marketing. I probably use a lot of a lot of mail, physical mail. And a lot of offline businesses, they do a lot of physical mail type stuff. They're still moving to the email marketing arena. So you want to figure out how are they marketing their business. That's why you want to talk to their marketing director. What are your goals for generating leads? Of course, they're going to say, oh man, I imagine myself having hundreds of people walk through that gym membership or gym door and lots of gym memberships and blah, blah, blah. Of course, they're going to say that. That's their goal. But you want to get specifics like, okay, give me specific goals for generating leads. What type of leads, you want to generate? What can you give away for free? They're like, I don't know. I can give maybe 1 month free if they buy this such and such, discount or something. And your whole goal is to figure out what they can give away for free. Now, when you're dealing with offline companies, you want to kind of explain to them, what I want you to do is give away for free some digital item. You're not giving away, a physical item. And they're like, oh, really? So that means I don't have to ship it. And you're thinking, yes, I just want to build an autoresponder system and give away good content that teaches your leads, what to do and how to improve themselves. For example, gym membership. What kind of stuff are people going to want to know? Different segments of the gym. Some want to learn about weight loss. Some want to learn about gaining muscle mass. It's usually the women that want to learn weight loss and some men that want to do weight loss. Some want to do cardio. Some want to increase their endurance. Some want to do this or that. So you could say, oh, well, I could set up 4 different autoresponders or email segment lists, and you can give away content. Gym memberships, they do personal training anyways. You could create a bunch of videos and give it away for free and show people exactly what to do. And you can do that in a way to sell your personal training membership or personal training service. So you see where I'm getting at this. Your whole goal is to show them that they can give away free digital stuff, ebooks, reports, newsletters, videos to people that want to improve themselves and want to fix solutions. They don't always have to, they're always going to think, oh, what can I give away for free? I've talked to many offline companies, and the first thing they'll say is, oh, I got a bunch of CDs that I could give away, or I could give these, physical items away for free. And I asked them, I was like, what is it that your audience wants the best, wants the most? And they're like, gym owner says, they want to improve their diet. They want to know this and that. And I say to them, well, you can all send that through email, You don't have to give away a physical CD. You save money by doing that in as well. So they're thinking like, wow. I know some of you're thinking, man, this sounds stupid, but it's really not. It's just a lot of offline companies, especially mom and pop stores, they don't know anything about online marketing. So when you tell them, you're basically showing them a totally different world. You want to ask then, explain your current process of generating leads. How are you going about generating leads? Are you mailing people and asking them to email you back? Are you using a website to do it? How are you marketing the website? Things like that. Do you currently email your customers? This is a big question because this tells you what system they use. Most of the people that I have approached, they say, yeah, I've been using Outlook Express. And I'm like, yeah, you need to switch to a different system, which is fine if you email with Outlook Express, but you want to automate the system, right? They say, wow, so you're saying that I could just pop in an email and click a button and send and broadcast the whole list? I say, yeah, you can do that. Plus, you can build your list, by automation, and you can automatically send them emails automatically without you having to have somebody enter the email every time and email them. And they're thinking, wow, that really would save me time and money. And of course, the last question pretty much answers what we've talked about. How do you email your customers? What email system do you use? You could even ask, how much does it cost you to use the email system? Another offline company that I was consulting at one time, I said, how do you email your customers? They said, we're using the email system, and it costs us only $5,000 a year. And I say to them, okay, what exactly does that email system do? They say, oh, we can just, it acts like an autoresponder basically. You can put in emails and email. And I say, what is your response rate of your email? As you can see, I'm building off of these questions, basically probing to figure out whether the system works or not, because I want to find some sort of loophole or deficiency in their email system. If you can find that, then you can point it out. So one system, they were paying $5,000 a year. I said, okay, I can do it for you for a few hundred. That was my first one, actually. And they're like, a few hundred? And of course, offline companies, it's not that you're ripping them off. A lot of times, if you charge them too low, like I just charge a couple $100 to do it, because it'll take me a few hours to do it anyways. But the fact that I charged a few $100, they came to me later saying, oh, we don't think this will work. We're looking to pay at least $10,000 for a system. And I'm thinking in my head, what in the world? They just passed down an opportunity to save $5,000 a year because my price was too low. So I go back to them. I say, okay, I'll do it for you for, I'll add some extra services and I'll add some marketing, services to it, and I'll charge you $9,000. They said, okay, great. I can't wait to do business with you. So if somebody comes back to you saying, no, we don't think this is going to work for me, you go back to them, add some services onto them, say, okay, I'll not only set up your autoresponder system, I'll help you rank in the search engines, and I'll show you how to use pay-per-click marketing to get traffic to your site and start building your list. And if you say that, sometimes you're like, oh, you add stuff on to what you earlier did and increase the price. And often they value that. It's just like you buy something. Let me give you an example. If you get something for free, most likely you're not going to use it, and most likely you're not going to take it as serious as you would normally would. If you pay for something, then you're willing to take the time to learn from it and use it. So it's the same concept here. Last thing I want to do is talk about pricing. How do you price it? Well, after your consultation, you get to know the company, and you should get an idea of their budget and how much they can afford. Not all companies can afford $10,000. Not all companies can afford $5,000. A lot of them will range anywhere from a couple thousand to 5,000 for mom and pop places. Then you have bigger companies that can't afford $10,000. So you need to know what their budget is. You can kind of tell from the way their business is. If they charge a lot of money and they're doing well for the business, you know that their budget is probably pretty high. But you should know all this by asking them about their marketing, how they're marketing, and their business, if their business is doing well, things like that. So $5,000 is usually a good starter. Like I said, couple thousand, depending on their budget. Bigger companies usually will think your service is too cheap if you charge less. Sort of like what I talked about earlier. So 5 to 10,000 is a good range. Hi, and welcome to video 3, which is about creating their follow-up series or creating their email content. If you've closed the deal, then congratulations. It's time to set them up. Set up their system, their email system, and their follow-up emails. But first, you need to ask them for content. And what I mean by content is what is going to be in those emails. I mean, as a marketer or whoever's watching this video, is that setting up emails is a very, very easy thing to do. But what you need to have is content. So, but you also don't want to overwhelm them and make them feel like, oh, I thought you were setting this up. But you need to make them understand that all you have to know is what kind of content is going to be in the email. I mean, you can pretty much decide for yourself what content goes in there, but you don't know the content as well as they do. For example, if I was talking to a gym owner and I had different autoresponders set up for different segments of the gym, people that wanted to lose weight, people that wanted to gain muscle, people for dieting, people that want to eat more to gain muscle, and people that want to lose weight. So that's the type of content you need to figure out. You need to figure out from them, okay, we're going to have 4 different autoresponders. I'm going to set up this email system for you so that you already have these 4 different email autoresponders. But you need to be able to create content so that you can either have something to give away or have some sort of e-course. All right, so let's look at one of these. People that want to gain muscle. If you're going at a gym membership, you don't really know this, but people that want to gain muscle generally are looking to bulk up, which means they're going to be doing a lot of heavy weightlifting, and they're going to eat high caloric intakes of meals. They're going to eat 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day, and they're going to do heavy weights. That's the type of content that you want to get from the gym owner. Is say, okay, all right, I get all this stuff. Now that I understand the basics, then I can turn it all into emails. You want to do about 7 to 12 emails as an e-course, because what you're doing is you're giving away a free e-course. In order for somebody to sign up on their list, they get 7 to 12 emails, educational emails. You're not selling anything. You're not selling anything unless the person signs up and they're not a member. Your whole goal in the beginning is to give them educational material. Say, okay, you can come to the gym, you can see so and so, later to get personal training. For example, those that want to gain muscle, they need to weightless extremely heavy weights. Not enough to break your back or anything, but enough to really stress your body and do bench presses. You're going to need somebody to spot you. If you don't know exactly what you're doing, you could always ask so and so personal trainer to show you how to do it so that you can do it correctly. So your whole goal is to educate the list and then sell them indirectly. Never say, go to this person, it's going to cost this much. Just say, you're going to need a personal trainer. Oh, by the way, so and so does such and such. So that's what I mean by content. They need to provide the content to you. You need to take the content and write it into emails. And I'll show you in a minute, how to do all that. Then you need to set up the autoresponder to send emails out frequently. Generally, you want to send it out frequently in the beginning. For example, the first week that so and so signs up, you need to email them at least once or every other day. Then, as time passes, you want to email them maybe once a week. And be consistent. If you email somebody on Tuesday, then they're going to expect you to send emails on Tuesday and so forth, Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. Just be consistent because that's important. So, fortunately, I was paying attention in technical writing class in college, and this is one of the few classes that I actually use in real life. Now, what you're looking at right now is PAD. It's an acronym for Purpose, Audience, and Design, and you can use it to write your e-courses, articles, or follow-up emails. In this case, we're dealing with follow-up emails, which can be an e-course. Now, this is very, very easy to use, so you'll see how it works. So, the P stands for purpose. You need to know the purpose of the e-course or the follow-up emails. If you know the purpose of the specific autoresponder follow-up series, then writing the e-course is very, very easy thing to do. Now, after I describe what PAD is, so you can get a good idea of it, then I will go off and write an actual follow-up email series, and I'll start it out so that you can see where I'm going with it. So once you know the purpose of the e-course, then you can move on to the A part. The A stands for audience. You need to know who will be reading these emails. For example, if I'm writing an e-course for a gym owner, he's provided me with content about weight loss and gaining muscle. There's two different segments or many different segments within a gym itself. Different types of people with different needs. So I need to know who my audience is and who will be reading these emails. But not only that, in addition to that, I need to know what type of person I'm dealing with. What are their needs? What are their wants? What are the problems that they face? Things like that. Because if I know the problems that they face and the roadblocks they will most likely run into, then I can complete and create a good e-course. Now, in order to do that, it's wise to sit down with the business owner, figure out who their audience is. Of course, that's what you're going to do in the free consultation. But you can also sit down with them later and then get to know their clients, get to know, even maybe sit down and talk with a client for 5 minutes, ask some questions. If you do that, I guarantee you the business owner will be like, wow, this person's really trying to get to know my business on a deeper level. So the trust factor will always be there. But anyways, you need to know your audience, get in the mind of the audience. Basically, like writing an article or writing a sales letter, you have to know the audience. You have to know how they tick. Then comes the D, design. Design also includes what they need to do. So, what you want to do is you want to create a list of 7 to 12 tips or problems. They can be tips or they can be problems. And the reason being is you can mix and match. You can mix it up with a bunch of problems because if you have problems, you can get solutions. If you have tips from the owner, you can do that as well. So you could sit down with a business owner, take 10 minutes, ask so and so, hey, uh, what are what are 12 tips that come to your mind? The biggest, or you can even ask, what are the biggest questions that you receive from your customers about losing weight? And they're like, oh, that's easy, blah, 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 blah. There you go. You have your 7 to 12 e course. Or ask them for problems, you know. But guarantee you it's very, very easy thing to do. But that's what I mean by content earlier, is you need to sit down, figure out what problems and questions that their customers have. Dieting and what they need to do exercise wise. What does their life look like? Do they sleep more? Do they eat more? Do they eat less? Things like that. So it can be a tip or a problem. Then, when you have a tip or problem, the call to action or the solution is very, very easy to come across. Because then, you could probably figure it out, but you could also ask the gym owner or the business owner, what are give me 7 to 12 tips or problems. You don't have to have complete sentences. Okay, number one, problems that people face with gaining muscle. They generally eat too much and they don't gain weight. They have a high metabolism, you know, things like that. Or they're on a low budget. You could segment things out like that. But that's what PAD is, and you need to do it before you create your e-course and your follow-up emails. And to this day, I still use that information. In college, that was in 2001. And PAD is great. You can use it in e-courses. You can use it follow-up emails, and you can use it anywhere else. But as you can see, it's a very easy thing to do. Once you understand it, we can actually move on. So what I'm going to do now is actually show you what it looks like to take PAD to the next level and apply it to create an actual e-course. So right now we're in the brainstorming process. So I would recommend that you open Notepad, WordPad, or even grab a piece of paper and pen. Whatever keeps your mind thinking, that's what matters. Now, don't worry about packing these follow-up emails or setting them up into your autoresponder just yet. Right now, we're just in the brainstorming process, so that's all you have to think about. Now, what I did was I pretty much copied what I wrote in the previous slide into Notepad. So we've got PAD, which stands for Purpose, Audience, and Design. So the first thing I'm looking at is the purpose of the e-course. Basically, all I need to know is what I want to do with the e-course. Now, because I'm dealing with a gym business, and as I told you earlier, there's many segments and different types of people with different needs. But I'm not going to audience just yet. I just want to know what I want to do with the newsletter. Or, what does the client or the gym business owner want to do with the autoresponder? And you can give them advice. You can give them your opinions. Don't lay it all on them. Otherwise, they'll feel like they're overwhelmed. And you definitely don't want to do that when you're dealing with offline businesses. You want to make them think that you're doing most of the work, even though you're trying to get content and things like that. Now, as you can see, I wrote down gym business. That's the purpose of the e-course, is to focus on gym business customers. Then I put down two other purposes. For example, Newsletter tips to help current customers. Current customers that come in, maybe a benefit of being a customer is that they get a 7 to 12 email series that has tips specifically for their segment. You have weight loss, people that want to lose weight, people that want to gain muscle, people that want to increase their endurance, people that want to increase their speed, things like that. So you have new newsletter tips to help current customers. Then you have newsletter tips to help undecided customers. So you're thinking about, okay, I can help this gym business owner build a relationship with their current customers, but at the same time, build a relationship with undecided customers. That way they can build two different lists, one with current customers and one with undecided customers. Now, you can tell the gym business owner, hey, you know what? I can create two different lists, one for current customers and one for undecided customers. But keep in mind that the one with undecided customers, the emails will be similar but slightly different. I mean, think about it. If I go to audience here, who will be reading these emails and describe the person this is and their needs? So let's take, for example, that I'm dealing with somebody who wants to lose weight and gain muscle. So I got two different segments that I want to focus on. If I were dealing with a current customer, then I could talk about, tips and problems. And unless he's trying to sell classes and things like that, then he doesn't really need to sell that much. Because what he's doing is just building a relationship right now. Then with the people that are undecided that want to lose weight and gain muscle, he can do the same thing. He can use the same content, the tips and the problems. But the only difference is that at the end of the email, he has a call to action. So that's the only difference. So as you can see, you pretty much can recycle your content. You just work on current customers first or undecided first, whatever you want to do. Then just make sure that the undecided people have a call to action. Say, hey, now that you have learned this tip, now you can learn more by joining this membership, or we'd love to see you at this gym so that we can help you more in this area. You don't always have to do a hard sell. You can also do a indirect soft sell. And that's what we're doing by providing content. And that's what you tell the business owner. They're like, wow, this makes all sense in my head now. Which is amazing, because you do get to help these business owners understand what they're missing out on and what that possibly could happen. And just by doing this, like I said earlier, you really get your foot into the business owner's place, and then you get 2 feet in there. They're going to want to hire you for future marketing services. But anyways, without sidetracking, you've got the audience. Okay, current customers, undecided possible customers. Who will be reading these emails? Okay, we've got that done. Describe what type of person this is. Okay, now since I'm dealing with both people that want to lose weight and people that want to gain muscle, all fall into different categories. So the person that wants to lose weight, what type of person this is? Usually this person wants to lose weight maybe for health reasons, maybe for because they're fat. They want a good looking body. They want more energy. Maybe people that are bigger and they want to lose fat, and because of that, by losing more energy, they have, or I'm losing more weight, they have more energy because they have to carry around less weight. They want to lose belly. fat, maybe to get abs. There could be different reasons and their needs. Usually, people like that maybe are used to eating a lot. Not always, but I mean, that can be the case. But another thing you could do is also go to easyarticles.com. I use that all the time. easyarticles.com. And just read about it too. People that want to gain muscle usually, are skinny, high metabolism, can eat a lot and not gain weight. And then what are the solutions that they have to face? Like tips and problems. All right, so I'm not going to go down here now, lose weight, gain muscle. Tips are just to, depending on the person, just walking, eat less calories, eat well, gain muscle. People that need to gain muscle would be eating more, yet weight lift less repetition, but more weights. So, and if you don't know the answers, you can always go to the gym owner, and then, or you can go to easyarticles.com and do research on that. And as I said, if they don't have time to give you a lot of content, you can always go to Easy Articles. Don't copy and plagiarize though, but just get an idea of it. And you can even ask, personal trainers, things like that. Sometimes it's just easier to talk to the business owner or to their employees or their customers, in fact, as well. So now that you have a good idea of PAD, now we can actually begin to write the follow-up emails. Now, how do you do that? Follow-up emails consist of welcome email, which is the first email they get, and then follow-up emails. It could be like week or day 1. You could say, okay, 7 to 12. You could say, I'm going to give you 12 weeks of awesome information. Okay. Welcome email is probably just something to introduce them. It's not actual content yet. And then day 1, we'll call it week 1. And it depends on you, depends on the person too. Like sometimes maybe it can be more than 12 weeks. It could be, let's say that they're putting on a specific diet and they have to have 30 days. It's a 1 month period, 30 days. You could have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, like that. And then week 1, I would just put week 1, bunch of weeks. Change it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you get the point. I'm not going to go further than that. We'll just call the remaining weeks number signs. All right, so that's what it's going to look like. The welcome email, you just want to say hi, first name. And these are going to be customized. You got to remember when you're dealing with autoresponders and Aweber, they're all going to be customized. So at any time somebody gives their first name and their email to the business owner, you can customize it. So you can say, hi, first name. Thank you for signing up to the whatever title your newsletter is. So that's just an introduction for your welcome email. Your week 1 to 12 or 1 to 7, whatever you choose, you just need to make sure that when you write an email, what I would do is I would remember my audience. Okay, are you dealing with young people? Are you dealing with older people? Are you dealing with whomever? But whoever you're dealing with, it kind of matters how you write, but at the same time, I would suggest that you write informally, meaning write like you would write to a friend. But don't use jargon, don't use, technical terms, don't use slang. Just keep it informal like you're talking to somebody, but just keep it simple and straightforward. So let's say week 1 is all about people that want to gain muscle. All right, so week 1 is important because if they want to gain muscle, they need to understand just about everything. So you could say, I'm going to give you 5 ways or 5 things you need to do. And just list out the things that they need to do, and that's it. And just elaborate on that. You can write a bunch of keywords here and then elaborate it a little deeper. Week 2, they're probably ready to get started, or they already got started. You could talk about, okay, weights, lift heavy weights, less repetition. So you could list 3 things. It's just like a grocery list or things to do. If you can make a grocery list or things that you need to do that day, you pretty much can create an email. So write the email. It doesn't have to be in any format or any specific style, but I just want to show you how easy it is to create follow-up emails. Hi, and welcome to video 4, which is about email HTML templates. Now, in this particular video, what I'm going to do is go to aweber.com, and they actually provide you with hundreds of HTML templates. Now, I'll show you how to customize them there, but at the same time, I'll show you where to get more professional HTML templates elsewhere. So right now I'm looking at aweber.com. I've logged in, and you can create and manage a list if you like to. I'm not going to go into detail just because Aweber focuses on that, and they have lots of user-friendly information, lots of videos to show you step by step how to set things up and all that. And as you know, primarily this video series is all about approaching offline companies, closing the deal, and things that don't relate to things that you cannot find in the Aweber resource section. But without further ado, let's talk about email templates. The first thing you can do is add a subject line. But right now I'm dealing with the templates, so you're going to see 2 sections to enter your email: the HTML template or HTML message area and the plain text message area here. Now, I want to stick with the HTML templates in message, so I could enter stuff here like, hi, how are you doing? This is week 1 of gain muscle tips. Blah, blah, blah. Now, the templates are located over here. Currently, there's a basic plain template, and you can see it here. As you can see, there's lots and lots and lots of templates. And I could just scroll down and look at these templates. So it allows you to look at the template before you actually load the template. So these are Valentine's Day templates. And you also want to keep in mind, okay, what kind of niche am I directing towards? What kind of colors do they use? And you can even look at the business owner. What kind of colors are in their logo? They have audio templates, things like that, which are interesting. So you could even make a audio email if you wanted to. This one could be for real estate owners. So as you can see, there's a lot of different templates. Now, when you're ready to load an actual template, let's say that I want to go back up here, pick this one, or one of these. Say I'll pick this one. When I'm ready to load the template, I just click on Load Template. And you'll notice that over here is where I'll see the template. And then of course you can customize this area. Tip 1, tip 2, whatever. Put a little bit of information about the company and things like that. You can change the font by going up here. You can change the styles, the headlines, things like that. Now, if you're wondering, oh man, I want to change the look of this, like from green to something else. Or let's say that you've looked through all these templates and you don't find any template that you like. Well, what you can do is go to Google and find, HTML templates. But if I were to recommend a site that has email templates and that are professional enough, I would recommend ThemeForest. If you go to themeforest.net and then under categories, you'll see email templates. Click on email templates, you'll be forwarded to this page. And what I normally like to do is I click on order by, either sales or rating. And a lot of these templates look really, really nice. A lot more professional than the templates that you would find off of Aweber. So you can see screenshots of these templates and what they look like. The nice thing is they are customizable. If you don't know anything about HTML, you can go find somebody that does, like go to scriptlance.com and simply ask somebody to edit your code. And that should not cost more than like $20, depending on what you want to do. For example, if I wanted somebody to change this and add a logo and things like that, it should not cost more than $10, $20. And let's say that you do buy an HTML template. Basically, each template's going to have a bunch of code that looks like this. So all you do is, of course, delete all this. So I basically selected all and deleted it. And then take the code from that template you purchased and simply copy it into the source code. But I wanted to show you two routes where you could use Aweber's HTML templates, or you could go to themeforest.net and go get professional templates there as well. And there's a lot of people here that do design, HTML templates and things like that. In this particular video 5, you're going to learn how to set up emails, both welcome emails, follow-up emails, and more. Now, for many of you, you might already know how to do this, but I created this specifically for those that don't know how to set up emails in Aweber. Alright, adding follow-up emails and welcome emails to your list is a very easy thing to do. All you have to do is pick the list that you want to add the message to, then click on messages, then click on follow-up. Once you do that, then of course you can add the welcome email, which is the first email. And I'll just give you an example here. This is an email I created for a different list. And I have a text message here where I welcome people. Just basically, all you have to do is thank them for signing up on the list. Show them, give them a video or content that, something that will constantly build their trust as well as some sort of call to action, as well as, telling them that they're going to receive content within the next few days or within the next few weeks. Now, the first email is going to be sent immediately. So that would be the welcome email. And then after that, you can go back to messages, click on follow up, and add new follow up message. You want to add the subject line. Then in this case, you're using an HTML message. So like I showed you in the previous video, you could either choose from an existing template, or you can get a template from themeforest.net. Get the code, simply copy the source code, click source code, copy it in there. Once you're ready to edit, then you can click on design, and then you can see the design there. Now, the only thing you got to remember is that depending on when you send it, if you send it every week, then every new message you create, basically number 2 is sent 7 days after the previous. So if you do it on a weekly basis, it's going to be 7 days, 7 days, 7 days, 7 days for everything. But if you're doing it every other day, then just keep in mind, okay, when was the last one sent? Do I send it 2 days later after the previous, or do I send it 3 days later? And it's merely up to you, but that just tells the system whether or not, when to send it, what day to send it. Every day, every few days, every other day. You could even send it first one, 2 days later, send another one, 3 days later, send another one. But I would highly recommend that when you're dealing with these offline companies, is that in this case, what you can do is just go to the follow-up, keep adding emails, and just make sure that you have it on a consistent basis. If it's every other day, that's fine. But if it's every week, make sure that you email it, 7 days after the previous, 7 days after the previous. That way, if somebody signs up on Sunday, then they're going to get it consistently on Sunday. One thing that is a neat trick is that if you send it consistently to them week after week after week, and you can tell this to the offline business, you can tell them that if somebody signs up on Tuesday at a specific given time, generally they are probably free the next Tuesday at that same given time, whether they signed up during the lunch period or whatever. But if you have some sort of consistency, then they're going to expect the email at the same time. They most likely will have free time during that time they signed up. And therefore, in the future, they can read the emails on a consistent basis. So you can even tell that to the offline business owner, and they'll be like, wow, that's interesting. So it kind of helps increase your trust and your relationship and your rapport between you and that business owner. And when you start out, remember, if you're not going to close the deals, you can still learn a lot from just having free consultations and setting things up. You could even, the first few ones, you could even charge, like you could give away free consultations and put it down to a couple $100 if the customer or if the business owner can recommend, let's say, 4 or 5 other people that they know. You could do that, and generally that tends to boost your business as well. And I'm just telling you things from my own experience. But that's how to add follow-up emails to Aweber. And as you can see, it's very easy to do. Of course, once you're ready to go and you're done with the follow-up emails, then you can create a web form. Create a web form. For example, I've already created one here. But it's 3 steps. The first step is to just pick a design. And as you can see, they have tons of designs. Templates, as you can see here. Once you have the design picked out, you can go to the settings, name the form, add your thank you page and all that. And then when you're ready to publish, you can have the form information. You can either have Aweber host the form, or you can put it on your website. Hi, and welcome to video 6, which is going to be about easy shopping cart integration. Now, just to keep in mind that most companies are not going to use this, because a lot of companies don't want to switch up their shopping cart or the payment system. Most companies out there, offline businesses, do not use online shopping carts. They simply use some sort of credit card swiping machine integrated with some sort of merchant account. Now, what do you need to do? Well, during the free consultation, you just need to figure out their sales funnel, meaning you need to know what happens from beginning to end. What happens from the customer walking into the store, finding what they need, purchasing the product, what system do they use, what software do they use, and what happens when they leave. You need to know that. I would say the majority of offline businesses are not going to use this video. I mean, you're not going to use this video only in cases where they are selling some sort of product that they can actually sell, or they're open to doing that. For example, I was consulting a gym owner one time, and I told him, I said, hey, Scott, you should expand, you should increase your, shopping carts, maybe use some online shopping carts so that people can go to your website, and if they choose to do so, they can purchase, something online. But he's like, nah, I don't want to do that because I don't want to change my whole system. So I would say for the most part, at least 80% or more, it's give and take, most people that run offline businesses will not use this integration into Aweber. But if some of them will be open to it, especially when you tell them, hey, you can gather leads, you can get people to buy specific products, and then you can add them onto your list automatically, and then you can email them a bunch of content-based emails, plus you can sell them over and over again automatically. A lot of people like the idea of automation. If you can show them that, they are easier convinced. So, with that said, you can offer them, you can say, hey, what about PayPal? You're selling a service. You could offer that overseas. You could offer that to the global market. And then from there, you can take it on and show them how to create digital products and market it. And there's really so many possibilities that you can add on to this so that you can sell more, marketing services and things like that. Of course, that's something that you want to always offer. Sometimes they will take it, sometimes they won't. But I just wanted to offer this video just in case that was the case. So once you understand their sales funnel, you need to know how it all works. The sales funnel and everything else. You need to decide and figure out whether it is worth it to them to have some sort of online shopping cart. Now, if they choose to go with PayPal and things like that, and they choose to go forth and develop some digital products with the help of you. Now, Aweber does provide a lot of resources to do that, and I'll show you how to access that information. So as you can see here, if I go to aweber.com and I look under their information or their knowledge base about what to do with email parsers, you can see that they say that they have a lot of email parsers set up for several payment processors, including PayPal, Authorize.net, Pay.com, ClickBank.com, OneShoppingCart.com, StormPay, and RegSoft.com. Now keep in mind that some offline companies actually use Authorize.net, or they actually use some of these merchant accounts, because some of these are pretty famous. Now, most offline companies are not using things like PayPal, Pay.com, ClickBank. But One Shopping Cart, possibly. I mean, if they're using a specific merchant account that is integratable, or you can integrate it into one shopping cart, then you pretty much would have find a way to pretty much integrate their merchant account into these systems, which is a good thing because in the long run, you can just constantly build onto this business and help them grow. And at the same time, you've got pretty much a residual income from this company because they're just going to want you to constantly add onto the system once they start seeing, you know, improvement in areas so that they can expand and make more money. Now, one thing you could do is go into your Aweber account, and if you click My Lists or put your mouse over it and then click on Email Parser, you're going to get this page right here. But as you can see, Aweber.com integrates with a lot of shopping carts, a ton of shopping carts. They also integrate with membership sites and podcasting tools and lead services as well. So you could even show this list to your merchant or your business owner that you're consulting and see if they have any of these shopping carts or these merchant accounts. Now, if they do and you don't know exactly, okay, how do I set it up? Do I just click a button or what do I do? Well, it's not a humongously hard process. What I would recommend you do is go to search the knowledge base and type in how to use email parser. Now, I'm not going to show you how to do it step by step just because it's different for every shopping carts, and there, as you can see, there's tons of shopping carts. But if you type that in, it'll tell you how to integrate ClickBank with Aweber, one shopping cart with Aweber, which is most likely used or widely used. I would say one shopping cart and Authorize.net are probably the more widely used systems by offline businesses if they are going to go online. PayPal, other things like that, they don't really know. They might have heard of PayPal, but they might be reluctant just because the way they're set up on their system. So you've got to understand their sales funnel and how they take sales and things like that, and use your own judgment to see whether or not it's possible to integrate them into a shopping cart. Because you got to remember, it does take time to set up shopping carts and things like that. But if you do that, you could always increase your price a lot greater. Congratulations, you have completed this video series of Easy Autoresponder Cash. You've learned how to find offline companies, approach offline companies, give them a free consultation to build a relationship, and so that you can find out what they need in terms of an autoresponder system, where they stand, and where you can get them to marketing wise as well. So as you can see, this is not just about building an autoresponder system for them, but it's also a way to build a relationship and to figure out what else do they need in terms of services and that you can provide in the long run. Now, in video 7, we're going to talk about testing and statistics. Testing is very important. You want to make sure that you test it first, but once you've tested it, you want to make sure the offline business owner tests it as well. And I'm going to show you how in a minute just how to do that. Because if they test it and they see it works in front of their eyes, then they can feel like, okay, we're good to go. And that way they don't bother you later down the road as much. Statistics wise, it's good to have statistics and reports, or show them how to access the statistics and reports. Because a lot of offline companies that I've dealt with that's pretty much where they put their money. If they see that something is working and that they are getting proper statistics on a constant basis, then they're more willing to invest more money into your services. So you just want to teach them how to test it and how to access statistics so that they can do that. So let's go ahead and go and do that. In order to test the form, the web form that you created previously, what you need to do is go to web form And make sure that you choose the publish button here, the step 3, so that you can see it. And make sure that you choose the current list that you want to test. And what I would advise you to do is do it in front of the offline business owner so that they can see themselves that it is indeed working. So what I want you to do is click on the last one here and then go to that page. Type in your email address and type in your email. Click on sign up now, and there it works. Then, of course, after that, you also want to go to your email box. Sometimes it can take a few minutes, so you might be able to just tell the business owner that, but eventually it should come. Alright, so Aweber was kind of slow there. I had to wait a couple minutes to actually refresh and find my email here. But if I click on that, basically you can show them that, oh, okay, so after you sign up, you get a confirmation email. You just click that link, and then after you click that link, then of course you get your welcome email. And here's the welcome email that we receive. So everything works, so that's great. Once you show them how it works, then you want to show them how to access these statistics. What you do is you go to reports, then reports, you show them the daily new subscribers, and as you can see, all the different types of reports. So that's pretty much it, and as you can see, it's very easy to just test and show them that where to access the reports. And from then on there out, you're pretty much good to go. But a lot of it, I will say, the planning process goes into the approaching offline companies, closing the deal, and then figuring out how to set it up and how to customize the autoresponder to their needs. Setting things up with Aweber is just easy. It's not hard at all, and they provide you with so many resources that it should not be hard to do. The only tedious part, like I said, was the planning process, because you've got to make sure that you plan it right, and you've got to make sure you know exactly how much time and effort you're going to have to put in, and make sure that you charge a decent amount. And that's the reason why people charge, several thousand, $5,000 to $10,000 just to get it set up, because it's customized. You need to know exactly how the business works and where they are now and where you can get them.